Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time On Target Morning Brief. Sorry for the late start today, but as you can see in the background, we are in a deployed location in Las Vegas this week, and we are at a volleyball, and volleyball is going okay. We were the bottom seed in our pool, and for my youngest daughter, and they finished higher than that. They won a game, so 1-4 here at Nationals, which of course you'll want more than that, but it is what it is. And again, these are the best. Uh, 48 of the best teams in the nation. So, overall, really proud of the girls for what they've accomplished this year and the fact that they're here at Nationals. So, it'd be nice to win a little bit more, but we'll see going into. We've got 3 matches today, and then 2 or 3 matches tomorrow. Excuse me, 2 matches, 2 or 3 tomorrow to kind of wrap up where they finish overall in the nation. So it's pretty cool. With that, our topic for today is a little bit out of the mainstream. Sorry for the late start. Had some technical issues getting set up this morning, but GameStop and Reddit Mania, about the stuff going on with the crowd swarm funding, swarm investing, if you will. There's some, there's some analysts this morning that actually just completely bailed on GameStop stock and said, we're not even going to talk about it because you know what? It's impossible to predict. It's being totally manipulated. So therefore, we're out. So we're going to talk a little bit about what an analyst does and whether that's the right thing or not. But, they made that decision. Other analysts have not. So they'll continue on and cover the stock. But you're right. It doesn't really follow any traditional stock analysis, if you will. And that's what we'll cover this morning. All right. As far as some longs out there, the market is in the green this morning, just barely. There are some longs for Mankind and B&GO that I like with a couple of storylines. There's another couple longs I put in the chat there. As far as the short, have one short ATUS. I don't really like it all that much, but it is something short if you're interested in shorting. If you're catching us on replay, thanks for checking us out. And make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications bell. If you want to join us live, it's $25 a month. Just reach out through OTOTnow.com. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone. Here is your lineup card this morning for today, Monday, 29 June. Make sure you have everything set up correctly. Standard disclaimer applies. Do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you hear this morning, and make sure that you check out the full disclaimer at OTOTnow.com. All right, mission objectives for today: grow money, protect money, and live off our money. Today, we're talking a little bit about some of the, the mania that's going on, the swarm investing. If you want to participate in this stuff, do so as a trader. Don't think like an investor, thinking long-term, that sort of thing. But if you do want to participate in it as a trade, you certainly, traders need stocks to move. And these stocks are certainly moving. We'll look at GameStop today. We're also going to pull up the chart of AMC real quick, which I just added there. Excuse me. We'll also take a look at what is a stock analyst, what function they perform, but we'll get to that after the market open. We're going to do long, short, open, short, long. We'll do a market review, headline review, take a look at those 2 investments, get into the short-term trades, and contingencies and academic resources are standard. All right, let's go over to TD Ameritrade and take a look at where we are in the market. Again, June swoon, right? We talked about it. This is where everything sells off at the end of June. You buy it back in July. This is why we brought that up, I don't know, about a week ago and just kind of laughed at it because guess what? Has nothing to do with anything, even though I'm sure some PhD study says that is the week to sell and buy back later on. Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Look at the market. It's straight up, right? So straight up for the past 5 days. Let me zoom out just a little bit. So there you go. Straight up for the past, really 9 months is what you're looking at. Now there are some dips. People get excited about these, but really the market's powering higher. And, infrastructure bill, you can pick it apart if you want, but all in all, I think it's a win. For society, so therefore the market's gonna power higher on that. Once the the infrastructure bill's in the rearview mirror, now what are we going to talk about? We'll probably start talking about tax increases. Inflation has kind of died down out of the conversation for right now. Runaway inflation. I think we've all know that it's going to be up, north of 2%, probably maybe even 3%, but certainly not 5% or higher that was being talked at for a while. So market's powering higher, market's doing fine. Here's your 2 longs for today. MNKD on Medicare approval for a couple of diabetes drugs they have, and then you have CCXI. Excuse me, that's not the right one. Let's go BNGO. Bingo. There's your long for the day. They just got added to the Russell 2000, so we might be able to get in on a 10-cent entry here on either of these two stocks, and there's enough room to make a 3R out of these. So we'll be back to this here in a second. All right, let's go to check out where the futures are. Green across the board. Once I get that shared out to you, quick refresh just to make sure we're sticking in the green. Not a huge green move up, but certainly in the green nonetheless. All right, as far as Europe is mixed and pretty light. Asia down across the board, just barely though, pretty small numbers. Excuse me, bonds right at that 1.5% on the 10-year. Again, nothing really notable there. There were some shots fired last night in the Middle East, which is interesting. Generally, you see the price of oil spike. It is not yet, so holding that 73 area. Gold and silver up briefly, and crypto up. Pretty significant jump in crypto this weekend. So it looks like crypto is back, at least temporarily. All right, here is our major headline for today that we're talking about. Baird suspends GameStop stock coverage. Continued Reddit influence. So a stock analyst is supposed to make these calls, but they're basically bailing on the calls. So when you look at the stock real quick, here is the chart. They're saying it's not following any fundamental analysis at all. So they can't tell whether it's going to go up or down from there. And I would agree, AMC is probably even worse, because when you look at come on, AMC, wake up. You look at this big jump here, and now really what's going to happen, you would have to think all the momentum would be to the downside. So, buying some naked puts if you're interested in trying to short that. But we'll get that back to here in a minute. All right, let's go over and set up for the market open. Here again is TD Ameritrade ThinkPipes platform. We have 15 seconds. Stand by. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time On Target Morning Brief. 5 seconds to the market open. You have 3 panes in front of you on the ThinkPipes platform. You have the S&P 500 to the left. Here's the opening bell. All right, market is open for today. This is the S&P 500 on a 1-minute chart over here to the left. We have MNKD, which has, as a medical company, that a couple of diabetes products added to the approval list for Medicare. Then you also have BNGO. So you can see over here, they were added to the Russell 2000. So they both are heart of the envelope type of trades. They do have the volume. I kind of like Mankind a little bit better, but this one appears to be on the move. We're going to look for a 10-cent stop entry on either of these. BNGO's flopping around a little bit more, so we're going to get in here and zoom in. All right, we're watching. Not a whole lot of movement here in MNKD after that initial move, so that makes me want to take BNGO a little bit quicker here. Don't really want it to go north of 810 there. So once it does, we kind of have to admit that it's gone. Okay, let's have to let that go and BNGO. Let's try to catch the move. 495, 505 is your 10-cent move higher here in MNKD, which covers that low of the day. So 505, let's take it once it hits 505. Don't take it till it hits, though. I guess technically it hit there, but touched it. There we go. Let's just take it right here. 505 long with a 10-cent stop for MNKD. We're putting it below the low of the day, saying that the low has been established. All the profit taking from the gap up overnight has been done, and that our exit points are 515 is our first R point. 525 will be the second R point. I'll try to pull that up here in a second. And then 535 is the exit. Get you a long arrow in here so you know what we're doing. Again, entry in here, you can still take it. 505 was our entry point. Terrible arrow, but it's hard to draw on the small screen. All right, let's look over here. We'd have to have this go below 8 and then reestablish a low of the day after that, which it may do before we could turn around and take this long. Market's holding fine, so no significant moves there. We're just going to take a look at our short real quick. ATOS. Get down 10%. Established a high of the day up here. You'd have to use 8, so 790 would have been your entry. That's way back there. So real tough. You'd have to take a super aggressive entry on this. It would have worked because that's a 3R bar there, that red stripe down. But yeah, boy, that would be super aggressive taking that entry on that. But it would have worked. So. All right, and look at it falling like a rock now. So let's check out AHT was another long we had. That failed. Basically, you would have not lost any money. You never got an entry because it just fell out of the range. And CCXI, again, no storyline to go with it. Up 6%. This is sold off a little bit. So you could turn around. You'd have to use a 15-cent stop here. Low of the day, 14.35. It's kind of a tough entry with this low here. This is much cleaner on this side as far as MNKD, as far as the strength of the trades. I don't really care for that much. All right, let's go back, check out BNGO. BNGO was his name. Oh, I know somebody out there has said that this morning. So new high, 790. Yeah, boy, that's aggressive. You'd have to get super aggressive to do that. All right, our trade's finally showing some life in it here. Got up to 1 hour point briefly. Again, this is a patient trade. This is added over the course of the day sort of thing, not add to the trade, but adding, moving to the upside, up 7.5%. People are going to buy that. We need it to go up to about the 10% level for us to hit our exit point. Just going to pull this out and try to stretch that chart a little bit, see if it'll give it to us. Just to be able to look at something. So there's the 1 minute. Let's go 1 minute today. No, not going to do it. 1 minute daily. There you go. So here's why I like this trade. Is you didn't quite grab enough. So strike one. We'll do that again. Don't really need a 5 minute chart. Don't know why I did that. But to get the stuff drawn in here, here's 525 is our second R point. And then our exit point on the day is 535. Get it drawn over here since it'll occur during the day. So that's our exit. So that's the lines we have drawn. You can see it was already up here, though. It was already up at 560 earlier. So really, really nice entry point. And we will come back to this trade here in a few minutes. We're going to get the right chart for you. Small screen window kicking my butt this morning. All right, last attempt. There we go. That's close enough. All right, so there we can monitor it. All right, let's zoom out a little bit and see what's going on in the long world out there. CRISPR Therapeutics is up this morning. That's kind of cool. Have a couple folks. That's a super long-term theme. If you're interested, let me know. It's been a little bit of a house of pain, so just might as well pull up the 5-day, chart, kind of creeping back up. If you go back to a, say, 20-day, you can see it was all the way down here at 109, so it tacked on about 40% since back here. I've been a buyer since way off to the left of the screen, so it's been done nothing but drop. Now it's finally getting some love back, so that's good to see. All right, Neo in play. I like that. Trade Desk been stomping, stomping my foot about Trade Desk for a while now after the split, which was right here. So once you hit the split, so they're split at 60, now they're up at 78. So real nice move higher in Trade Desk, and we're seeing that today too. Luck and coffee on a Monday morning. What more could you ask for? Let's take a look at that chart. We could ask for $9, and we could ask for, hey, Luckin, why don't you do us all a favor? Why don't you hold $9 for once, okay? It's like you get above $9, and we like that. Now let's just go ahead and stay above $9. That's all we want, okay? And then we'll worry about later on in the year, you cracking 10 again and moving higher from there. But nice move up today. Nice move up in a lot of names. Palo Alto, American Outdoors, AMD, MongoDB, Zoom, QClean. That's a clean energy holding many of us have. Roblox moving higher. Mind Medicine getting some love. Palantir. All right. Amazon, I see they're up over 1%. Let's look at the downside. TQLB is a spec, so is TMRC. Energy getting beat up a little bit. Boeing down. Boeing's kind of an interesting case. I've been a net seller of it for a while now, kind of reducing the position. It's just run up so much. It's like there's nothing wrong with the company. It's just run up a lot. Just hard to win. Should be getting some more love. I'm about flat, I think, from where I entered it. Maybe not, right? That does not look like I'm flat from where I entered it anytime soon. I think it was over a month ago, but yeah, I must be down across the board from where I entered. It's in right in congestion right here. The real what we're waiting for is the earnings coming off of this summer. So you have earnings here. That's what end of January, end of April. So we should have earnings at the end of July, early August, looks like. So early August, we have to kind of wait and be patient with that holding to wait for it to pop up. All right, some other names here. Raytheon down a little bit. DraftKings down a little bit. JP Morgan, I have been a buyer of JP Morgan here recently, so let's pull that chart real quick. So again, basically bought this dip. I think it's a great long-term hold. So every now and then you get these sell-offs, so take advantage of them. Adding a JPM 2.2% dividend, if I remember correctly, off the top of my head. So overall, looking pretty good for the day. All right, let's check back to our trade. Dead even from where we bought it. So market is starting to sell off a little bit, still holding green, but some. This is one of these. There's such low volume, you can kill it if you want. I say, yeah, let's just go ahead and kill it here. And I don't do this very often, but I'm just going to go ahead and exit. We'll call it an equal on the day, so no wins, no losses, and call it good. Just the volume and the storyline, it's just like, if these were millions of shares, that's one thing, but these are hundreds of thousands of shares. So 200,000 shares. So just not quite enough volume to justify holding on to this. So let's kill it. Maybe you make a penny or two and call it good. All right, let's go back and finish up what we were talking about earlier about analysts. Going back here to Google, checking out. So this chart is AMC's chart. I didn't quite really get to wrap up what I was talking about. Chairman Powell, goodbye. All right. Well, what do you make of this? If the stock is really worth about $10, when it's here, as an analyst, it's tough to go, well, clearly it's a short. And, there's probably analysts out there that have a price target of like $12 or $8. And then you'll see an analyst, move, okay, Monday morning, I'm catching a lot of heat from an $8 call here, so I will move the price target to $12. That's a 50% increase, but it's irrelevant to this chart, right? Because the chart's up at 50. People were doing that in Tesla all the time. Tesla's up at $800, and they move their price target from 120 to 150. Now, I agree with their math. Their math is right, but that's not really helpful. And when you talk about, what does an analyst do and how to become your own, you're supposed to be digging into the financial data, and it's honestly irrelevant for a lot of companies out there. For most, it's not, so don't completely throw it out the window. But analysts, that Wall Street relies on these analyst estimates, and they're just so far off sometimes, and that it's kind of ridiculous. So if you do your own research and you're reading Seeking Alpha, how I do it is I look for the headlines, and I look for the main stocks that I'm invested in, and I look for headlines that I disagree with. There's two articles on Apple and they're right next to each other, and the one that says Apple's going to the moon, and the other one says Apple's days are done, sell now. Of the two articles I'm going to read the Apple is done, sell now article, because I already know what the other one says. I already agree with it. So don't read stuff you agree with, read stuff you don't agree with, right? And see if they make any points or if they're just whining because they've been burned by Apple. They've been saying for 4 years Apple can't go higher. Well, they've staked their reputation on it, so they're going to keep saying that, right? So same thing with analysts. If an analyst is negative on something, it doesn't matter what the stock price is. The whole market can be proving them wrong and laughing at them. They're going to stick to their guns until basically their boss comes in and threatens to fire, and then they might move their target a little bit. But just don't put everything on one article is my point. Or if you have a bunch of stock analysts saying something, do your own research. Go with your own thesis, if you will. I wouldn't say go with your gut because it's not an emotional thing, but certainly develop your own thesis and then execute that thesis is what you're really doing there. Or starts and ends with earnings, that's for sure. You can basically, everything you see here, all of these numbers is your FinViz chart. So everything you need to know, well, probably more than you need to know, is on this chart right here, right? Because you may not even understand some of this stuff. But you can look at short floats. Okay, you can look at past performance. Like what? That's kind of crazy. It's like you've got performance in the thousands, and you have this huge short float. It's like, and you think this thing's going to power higher. Well, the only way it can power higher is if basically the Reddit diamond hands crowd manipulate it higher. So, and that may happen. So generally, just as an investor, I would steer clear of this stuff, let it settle down. If you're trying to make a quick buck, then you can hop in. But here's where your upgrades and downgrades are. So these are analysts right here. And then here's what their change was. And there's the date. So downgraded it. So here's what this is a perfect example of what I was talking about. Then I'll let you go. Stock is at $54. It was down here at 10 for a long time. It was left for dead back here at like 5 for a while, or 3, 2, left for dead. And here's an analyst, they're moving their target from $4 to $2, which that was last year. But this year, a $1 target in February, straight sell, $1. Or April 5th, Riley Securities, they had a $7 price target and they upgraded to 13. The stock's at 50. I mean, well, is anything any of these people say right now relevant? No. So that's why it's hard to trust analysts, and especially when the stock's outpaced all of the analysts, right? So, all right, that's all I've got for you today. Let's check back and see on that trade one more time. I said kill it, so we'll see if I was right to kill it or not. Yeah, we killed it at just the right time. It rolled over and then busted out. So hopefully you killed it with me, so that doesn't count against us today. So calling it equal there. All right, that's all I have. We'll see you back here from Las Vegas tomorrow on the last trading day of June. Talk to you tomorrow.